I'm going to do The Cosby Show and Other Poems. This is a book, 2015, Water of Life Press. There are poems in here previously published in the Rain Party and Disaster Society and the Harpoon Review. The title poem is taken from episodes of The Cosby Show. It shouldn't take long, don't worry. The Cosby Show, a series of episodes. Rudy is convinced that there's a werewolf in her closet. Cliff teaches Theo the importance of a college education through the budgeting of Monopoly money. Theo argues that he could live on bologna for the rest of his life. His father is a ghost, cameo by Stevie Wonder. There were at least 2 episodes in which Cliff's lips sink down the marble staircase to an old song. It happened once with Rudy and once with Olivia. Bodies Dancing in an Empty Gray Space, cameo by Ray Charles. Vanessa lies about attending a concert. She sits sobbing in black leather, seated beneath Claire, who is furious with her own fear and enraged by this deception. Cliff sits silently watching. Cliff is amused by Theo's attempts to impress a girl. Theo wants to buy a fancy shirt to impress a date, but his parents will not give him the money. Denise offers to tailor a replica of the shirt for a lower price. The results of this creation are deformed, disturbed, mangled beyond any sort of real use. Rudy has Bud wrapped around her little finger. Peter is the boy who never speaks and runs out the front door. Rudy spits on Cliff's face and states coldly, "I zerbert you." Bodies dancing in an empty gray space. In an episode entitled Rudy's All-Nighter, the girls fight and make up as they drift slowly to sleep. There's another episode entitled Trust Me. Cuddled, coddled, curious enough to do nothing. Your cough syrup crush of a high school junior prom glances over her shoulder at you. Her eyes are like pudding. I've never seen a town so hungry for freaks. Lawnmowers gleaming in the sun, rows of pets neutered and polished. Animal bathroom mirror. Nothing ever stops the sky fused to your skull, to your spine, to the ground beneath your feet where the worms exist. They shall sing, as silent as a movie. I love winter nights. I love winter nights. It's quiet. I love Calamity. She is pretty. Even her long hair doesn't annoy me as much as it should. She looks concerned, but that picture is old. By now she's probably lost in traffic, or gibberish in a cafeteria line, or bleeding all over Italy. Calamity helmet for the breakfast table. She licks ketchup from the fork and we kiss. Let's talk about accidents. I want to see an accident happen. A tire to scream and explode and flesh to burn quickly after. Then I want to hear your opinion on God, or chance, or the wit of living with so many hours to build plaintiffs and pitfalls. Then I want to drink and gamble all night until I can no longer think or see straight. Street covered in snow. The truck is coming fast. Combinations are the ambition. Just before I sneezed, I said a prayer and my head went up in flames. Did you see it? Wave goodbye. The boy waves back and says nothing. It was winter again by the time we were through. Autumn was a dark cloud of confetti. Skaters across broken glass, the piles of leaves and tires burning. Time moves faster with age, and the work begins with a creak of moonlight at the drive-in. Kiss me where the bruise begins. Give me a reason to crumble and start over again like a 7 a.m. wake-up call. Anxiety dancing on the tip of her needle like a brittle ballerina. A woman and a possibility. If one exists, so does the other. My father hung high in the brilliant air. My mother faded as she listened, betting diamonds for dandelions. Considering my end in a crowded hallway, someone was swinging a bicycle chain as I stood there discussing pension plans, pictures of old age. No one ever died from thinking too much, but what a waste of a bicycle chain. The trees began to attack. The ambulance began to eat the crowd. We grew fat and we laughed. The sun started to sweat back, blister and scream. Sweet ache of survival, enough muscle to keep the blood moving. The man being interviewed expressed his regrets. Tall buildings amaze me and make me jealous. My hand is bigger than your largest building. Ants in my section, time frightens us, and this is why waiting rooms are filled with magazines of men and women having sex on top of other people. Fear of wasted time inspires paralysis, which is wasted time. A train track running through your living room is just enough to keep your head.
Two more to go.
God stuffed the marble ball with hammers and hand-me-downs, businesses, abuses, buses, and busboys. Snakes and buttery infants, the rain and the shackles in between the raindrops, the goat's head, the lamb's breath, the weeping ghost and the bloody hands that made her, the meat and the freaks that beat it, the bubble that bursts, the air that eats it, gasoline, gunpowder, fear, and pop music. And God lit the fuse and stumbled off to sleep it off and hasn't been seen since. The heart wired the news to the rest of the body, which seized itself near the basketball courts before several witnesses who all agreed that it was a terrible situation. The building where this man slept and kept his belongings fell apart later that afternoon for no reason at all. The earth is talking about us. She's saying that she's seen guys like us come and go. Why they leave she could never fully figure out, but she stopped caring a long time ago. I suspect that she never truly cared at all. That she was born without that feeling, but on the other hand, I've always had a poor relationship with plants. I am an animal thinking about other animals, raging in my sleep and in my grief. My sleep itself is raging. Keeping busy is not enough, racing, blistering too, just keeping up. What you are made of and what you amount to. You may amount to something memorable, you may amount to shit. But everyone knows that suicide is hilarious, even though the funeral was a nightmare. My brother was a mess. I was going to quit smoking, but fuck it. No one had ever seen a dead child before. She was blue and white, as if she were freezing cold, but no one dared to touch her or give her a blanket. Sentiments that make me feel uncomfortable found in scenes from old movies. Patsy Cline plane crash. Or that part in Take This Job and Shove It the movie when that working guy tells that fancy guy that he doesn't know how to read. I'll play, but only if coach stays. One hand claps and then they all clap except for that grump who storms off somewhere to sulk. My mother taught me how to sulk. She went to Niagara Falls because she saw it in Superman 2. The power of nature crashing in the orderly fashion she fell into until Clark Kent scooped in to save her. Clark Kent was an asshole. Your wife is murdered in my eyes, but she runs a tight ship. I'm an asshole. A child releases a string, and a balloon is fed to the atmosphere. Death rests on a park bench covering his face with a hat. Tired of wondering why we refuse to live. She's too tired to make funeral arrangements, so we agree to burn her body. I can't remember if my arms remained crossed when she reached across the bed to touch me. Enough! No more elegies, please. At this point, even the skeletons are starting to roll their eyes, and skeletons don't have eyeballs. But isn't this what people do? I can be sentimental even though I was taught not to be. I know a few dead people and I like them. The sky is much wider to him, an orange door surrounded by sound, murmurs and motions behind the wall. The song releases an image from the television screen. Something about a slow train headed elsewhere. I like the song, she says.